listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by. On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Welcome to the miracle that is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift on CKLU 96.7 FM, cklu.ca. So we're live on the radio. We're live streaming on the internet at cklu.ca. You can download the Radio Player Canada app, take us with you, listen to us anytime, anywhere on your favorite device. Also streaming on Facebook Live, facebook.com/Sudbury News. YouTube Live at youtube.com/Sudbury News. So grateful for you being with us today. Thankful to be here with you. And this is going to be a really great show. And again, it is the miracle that is this show because unforeseen circumstances, late to the studio, technical things, 1, 2, 3 technical things happening, doing it on the fly. And if you're listening on the radio, we apologize for the liftoff that was botched liftoff a bit, a little bit of the commercials, and one of our devices just happened to have an internet glitch just as it was going on, and so just timing of things. It is a miracle we are here, and so thanks for being with us today. We're gonna have a really great show, and with that we have Billy who's in the queue here. How are you doing this morning, Billy?
Right.
Are we gonna have a good show this morning?
Doing good, thanks.
Good. And how's your internet there? How's your internet?
Freezing drizzle day, so I don't have to go anywhere.
Oh, you might not even have to go anywhere. Oh.
I might not have to go anywhere.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll have to see. And a lot of people might not have to go anywhere either because school buses, we're going to get to that, are canceled. So you might as well just say it at the beginning of the show. School buses from, I think, like Wawa all the way to, south of us are canceled due to the weather, due to the freezing rain. Yeah, the possibility of weather. Certain weather, right? But yeah, no, it's that's the story from CBC that we shared, and I'm going to stick to that because these are paid professionals in our community. So thanks for being with us. Let's get right into it. Weather, we've got lots of stuff to talk about again today. We didn't get to everything yesterday. I was flying solo, and there was like 12 or 13 stories. We tried blasting through them, but we missed about 3. But, still a miracle yesterday as well. We'll be back right after this with some weather. Sudbury Weather brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. All things weather on sudbury.news. So here you have, currently it is -4, but it feels like -12. And there's no weather warning today for some reason, but I would think I was out there already. It should be a weather warning. It's pretty gross. Cloudy today, snow beginning early this morning. Yeah, it's already began and ending this afternoon. Then, lucky us, a 60% chance of flurries or drizzle later this afternoon, risking the freezing rain this morning, and snowfall amount of 5 centimeters. So you got 5 centimeters of a mixed bag of snow and possibly rain there. Very messy, very ugly. Winds will be gusting up to 50 kilometers per hour, and the high is +1 today. Forecast to be +1. Wind chill -14 this morning, however. And then tonight, cloudy with a 40% chance of flurries this evening, clearing overnight. Wind will be gusting up to 40. Low of -10, wind chill -16 overnight. And then Wednesday, which is tomorrow, sunny. Wind mild, 15 kilometers, high of -2. Wind chill will be -17 in the morning and then -7 in the afternoon. So very mild day, a cool day and sunny. Can't wait for tomorrow. Let's see if that actually will happen. Again, sunny tomorrow, high of -2. Thursday, look at your little bit of a long-range forecast here. Thursday, chance of flurries, high of -1, 60% chance of flurries. Friday, 40% chance of flurries, high of -2. Saturday, sunny again, it's forecasted at is a high of -8. So technically, high of -2 and sunny tomorrow, but the wind chill will feel like -7, but still very mild for tomorrow. Saturday, sunny again. Forecasted to be, I'll believe it when I see it, high of -8. Sunday, cloudy, -1, and then Monday, cloudy, -1. So look at those moderate temperatures here, and we'll be right into like the mid February at this point with temperatures around 0 degrees. What a mild winter we've had. Look at your satellite, and if you're on the radio, we can just let you know that there's lots of clouds and lots of clearing, mostly clouds, coming in from the west towards the east. And so, again, you got a lot of activity here and there. It's just a mixed bag, cloudy, clearing, and precipitation activity. So that is your weather, and it's brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca. And we'll be back with some sports right after this. Or not. So I'm not sure what happened there. Let's just do this for a second. We'll just go right into the sports. We'll be right back. Sudbury Sports, brought to you by that Sudbury Sports Guy's website, sudburysports.com. That Sudbury Sports Guy is Randy Pascal. Here we go. You know, I'm not sure. I know, Billy, you're still here in the queue, and I just, instead of clicking like precisely on the video to come on the mixer, I held it down for a second, and then it deleted the video that I was going to play. It's like
touchy. Wow.
Very touchy. Anyways, 10 seconds to remember. Sudbury 5 lose 2-point heartbreaker in London. We should have had this story yesterday because we were doing our sports segment of the weekend. But anyways, they lost on Sunday against the London Lightning. So the London Lightning look like the team to beat as usual. They've always been the team to beat. They're a very good team, and Sudbury's only lost to them. And so their great season is starting to almost get towards the 500 mark here. And now Sudbury Wolves, Nate Krawchuk was named the OHL Goalie of the Week by the Ontario Hockey League. Nate Krawchuk got his first OHL shutout on Friday night at the special night of the raising to the banners and retiring number 14 Mark Stahl's jersey on Friday, and we won that game against the Mississauga Steelheads 4-0. He got his first Ontario Hockey League shutout, so he is the goalie goaltender of the week for the OHL. So congratulations, Nate, on that. And you are a very good goaltender. There's no doubt about it. And you have a really great future. Speaking of really great futures, we have Sudbury's Joe Bowen being inducted into the 2023 Ontario Sports Hall of Fame. If you don't know who Joe Bowen is, and here's a picture of him with his son, David Bowen, who is on the call with the Sudbury Wolves right here on CKLU 96.7 FM. He's the newest member of the broadcast team, and there's a picture of him with his son here. The contributions to hockey of men and women from this province are always recognized. But the game was well represented Monday when the Ontario Sports Hall of Fame announced 2023 inductees. Brendan Shanahan, Jana Hefford, Brian Lewis, and 1959 world champion Belleville McFarlanes were named, while concussion specialist Dr. Charles Tudor, broadcaster Joe Bowen, and retired NHLer Steve Ludzik received Special Achievement Awards. Sudbury's Bowen, approaching 40 years as the voice of the Leafs on radio and television, won the Brian Williams Media Award, also helping for years to promote many amateur hockey and charitable causes. He began his career as we all know, broadcasting right here in Sudbury for the Sudbury Wolves games on local radio before the Wolves joined the OHL. So there you have it. And that's your Sudbury Sports, brought to you by SudburySports.com. We'll be back with Billy and headlines and a lot more of your comments, too, right after this. All right, Billy. I know you've been looking forward to this Tuesday coming on and chatting about all these things we're going to be talking about today.
Sure. What are we
again,
at?
We're at right at the top. I just shared this a bit ago because it just came out in the morning, and on my way to work, I was listening to CBC, and they were talking about this story. So I got a little bit of extra stuff as well to go along with this particular story we're beginning with today. We already have some comments on Facebook here. David's chiming in. Good morning. Stay safe. Good morning, David. And Bob Gervais. Bob Gervais. He's coming in to us from Costa Rica.
Oh, nice. Hi, Bob.
Costa Rica. I'm sure he's got some nice, wonderful weather down there. Good morning, Judy. Thanks for being with us this morning. And all you all that are on as well, make sure this is your show on your station. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow, and especially comment, because this is your show. We're just facilitating a community conversation here. And we're beginning with the story that was just shared from CBC this morning. Homelessness researcher says court ruling could change Sudbury's approach to encampments. I see in the decision there was a recognition that people live in encampments because they need a place to stay and be safe.
That's right. And they don't have beds for them in the system.
Correct. The shelters, right? We don't have sufficient housing, first of all. And then even over and above housing, we don't have facilities and supports that, go along with it. And so encampments become that community for one. There's a community aspect. There's they feel safe in their community. There's probably the alpha people that are like the protectors. There's probably the ones that are the nurturers, like any community has. They have all of the natural things built in.
Archetype that always sets in and creates all the different aspects of it.
Yeah, and you just don't get that in any other way. No, there was an expert from Laurentian University on, and this was a ruling that was done, I believe it was in Kitchener. I could be wrong. I'm just going to open the story here. It wasn't in Sudbury, per se, this court ruling. On Ontario, Waterloo, Kitchener, Waterloo region. So an Ontario judge found that Waterloo region wasn't legally allowed to evict those living in a large homeless encampment in downtown Kitchener because local shelters didn't have the room for everyone. So the case was brought to the court by a regional municipality of Waterloo, which sought to evict a homeless encampment of 40 to 70 tents in a gravel parking lot owned by the regional government near the Kitchener train station. It was on the grounds the encampment posed a risk to the health and safety of its residents. But the judge ruled, you can't do that because they don't have anywhere else to go. So that sets a precedent.
That is a tough situation.
It is. Now, you remember recently, and good morning, Julia, also from Costa Rica. And happy birthday, Bob Gervais. Happy birthday, Bob. I didn't know it was your birthday today. Well, happy birthday. That's awesome. And a great place to be enjoying your birthday, for sure. So, I'm sure it would be a lot more, easy is the word, to be homeless possibly, I guess, in a place where it's warm. You know, like I remember a friend of mine saying he wouldn't mind being homeless in like Los Angeles, for instance, or whatever, because there's very little,
Or to Northern Ontario.
yeah, harmful weather. You know, you can go put a tent under a palm tree somewhere and, you know, utilize some of the services for. And again, I noticed this particular person from Sudbury, from Laurentian University, who was commenting on the show. Let's see if she's named here. Yeah, Carol Copey is the director of Center of Research in Social Justice and Policy at Laurentian University. So she chimed in on it. She's been studying homelessness in Northern Ontario for more than 20 years. And the decision pointed out that many people cannot access those beds because of their particular characteristics, she said. I think that's very important and relevant to Sudbury because it's my opinion that Sudbury doesn't have enough accommodations for people living with homelessness. So a couple things here. First of all, the term homelessness now is you're living with homelessness. You're not homeless. You're experiencing homelessness. What do you think about that new change in the political correctness of the way that we address people in this circumstance?
I'm not too sure, but that's, I mean, language is pretty important. Uh, what do you think it might be? Does that kind of imply, if you're homeless, it kind of becomes an identity thing? I wonder if there's a psychological aspect to it where, you know, living with homelessness, it feels like a little bit more of a temporary situation.
Yeah. What they need to do is make a little stuffy or something and call it homelessness. And then you could really say, I'm living with homelessness, if you take it with you everywhere you go. And then if you just get rid of the stuffy,
Might be your $1 million idea.
you're not living with it anymore. And psychologically, you know, you throw it away, and it's like an exercise you could do that helps you know that you don't have to be living this way. You could be living in a home at some point. And there's many, many reasons. This is and I don't mean to make light of it at all.
No, you look at the situation out there with the rents, the cost of living. It's
Mhm.
actually, it's kind of surprising to me that probably more people aren't in that situation because I'm trying to figure out how how are people getting by? How are people paying rent in this situation here?
Yeah, I know. It's almost impossible for people who work 2 and 3 jobs to pay rent and pay groceries and all of these things. It's a crisis situation now. Interesting comment from Julia, who's down in Costa Rica, says there is no homelessness in Costa Rica.
Hmm.
Interesting. I'd have to look into that myself, but if that were true, we'd have to
Yeah.
kind of delve into why that would be. You know, if there was no homelessness there. So here you got the encampment that the judge says you're not allowed to go and get. You know, they're allowed to stay there, according to the judge. So what would that have meant with the encampment here that we had across from the police station, Tom Davies Square, and Memorial Park earlier this year? It would mean that we wouldn't be able to have evicted them. That would still
Right.
be there. So does that set a
Yeah.
precedence? What
And
is
that'd
our
be
future going to be looking like now in Ontario regarding to this situation?
Yeah. Well, I think it probably just puts a little more pressure on finding resolutions because it seems to be how the world works is through squeaky wheels in a lot of ways. So, and I feel bad for a lot of the businesses and people who've invested their lives in downtown as well. Like
Hmm.
they're they're probably on the other side of this push and pull situation. So
For sure.
not a it's not a clear situation to the preferred outcome here. But
Well, I've heard, and this is just me, I'm just going to not have a filter at the moment. I've heard that there's powers that be that get together in the world and they kind of think they're the ones who are going to plan how the world goes and stuff. Mainly people like the World Economic Forum, people like that. And they've had plans for years to equalize the world and and make it so that way everyone's on the same level economically, kind of thing. And so in order to do that, you'd have to take North America and bring it down a few notches into more of a third world economy and society. Instead of elevating the other societies to a first world and bringing them up to that, then if you just bring down the ones that are in first world to second or third status, then you've equalized the playing field for everyone in the world. And to me, if homelessness or people experiencing homelessness and are then legally able to just set up an encampment anywhere in any city at any time, it kind of normalizes that as well. And sure, maybe it becomes a sore spot for people, but then they go to the courts and the courts say, well, there's nothing we can do. You're allowed to do that. And so then it just becomes something anyone can just do, is just set up tents anywhere, and then there's no real boundaries for anything. And then we do then become a little bit more like a third world country where it is just kind of anything goes. There's no real laws. There's no boundaries. There's just, could this be kind of going towards that as well?
That's a interesting perspective, and I wouldn't doubt that there's at least a contingent out there that feel that way, and might be moving in that direction. But I think as a society, we have tools to counter that, and maybe we're just not implementing our tools enough. There's a lot in the systems that we have here.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's humanity's challenge at this point, is to sort of get activated, start utilizing our tools, and figuring this stuff out.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's definitely a huge topic. We'll be talking about this till the cows come home, obviously, because I remember Mayor Rodriguez said he was declaring war on poverty, and he was going to abolish poverty here in Sudbury. Do you remember that at all?
Sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, he was going to go to war against poverty and eradicate it here in Sudbury. And good morning, Jennifer, by the way. Thanks for being with us this morning. We were just talking about homelessness and how there's a judge in Kitchener that basically set some precedent there by making it illegal for the region of Kitchener-Waterloo to evict a homeless encampment off of their property. And so now it makes precedents for other municipalities across Ontario to not evict those that are currently illegally on other people's property. So now what about if there's someone in your backyard that sets up a tent and then another tent and then 3 tents and let's say 10 tents in your backyard, and you go to court and you say, there's people in my yard in tents living there, showering with my garden hose in the morning. And the courts say, well, they don't really have anywhere to go. Sorry. Because city property is private property in a way, right? It belongs to the city, and your property is private property. So how would that go?
Got to keep an eye on that.
No, really though, Billy, like how do you think citizens would handle that situation?
Yeah, I think, I mean, when rubber hits the road, push comes to shove, there's a saying I remember from, I haven't heard it too much lately, but when I was younger, and it was like, this is not quite accurate, but I think in the sentiment of it is a conservative is a liberal that got mugged. When it's like there's a certain ideology that gets challenged when it comes to your doorstep, kind of thing.
Okay, so let's say that is true. Like you could have that mindset and you say, I don't agree with this. This is wrong. Now that I'm seeing it actually come to play, yeah, be nice and cuddly to those that offend and prisoners and murderers. Just let them out right away because they need to be rehabilitated. You know, we need to give everything and anything to minority populations at the expense of those that are competent, that already have educations, that already have the ability to do things. And so services are given to those of minority rather than experience and qualifications. And so your service quality goes down because those that are serving society are less qualified. And so, you know, it's at every angle here that it just seems like it's pretty much almost like a game plan. So let's say now there's someone in your backyard, they set up a tent and they say, yeah, go try and get me out of your yard. And you go to the police and they say, okay, well, they come and they say, do you want to leave? And the guy goes, no, I like it here. And then you go to court, you take him to court. And the judge says, no, he has nowhere to go. He can stay in your yard. And the guy goes, nah. I can stay in your yard, no problem. I'm going to plug my things into your receptacle. I'm going to use your hose, swim in your pool. And the judge says, there's nothing you can do, but you go and you forcefully try and remove this person from what used to be known as your property. And he charges you.
I think
He charges you with assault. You go to court. The judge says, yeah, no, did you assault this man? Yeah, well, he was on my property. Well, I told you it was okay for him to be on your property. Now what? You're a conservative all of a sudden. You used to be a liberal. Now you're conservative. But how does that help anything now? You're in jail and they're not going to let you out. They're not going to rehabilitate you. They're not going to say that for you. You're going to go in there for a long time. So,
well, that is why the internet has to stay kind of free. In a lot of ways, it can't get too authoritarian kind of control. Because I think that's what kind of keeps the pendulum, from getting too far in one direction. Because as long as that, information about the reality of the world is able to be circulated, it's only going to go so far. There's going to be a critical mass. It's going to cross a threshold.
Yep.
It's going to push back in the other direction. And, I think, I have a feeling it's kind of being pushed. I'm seeing one end of the spectrum changing to another end of the spectrum right now. Yeah. And it is a lot of whether real or, again, just kind of political media operations to kind of push the needle in the other direction. But I just see a lot of that shift going on in the world right now.
For sure. Now, Jennifer has a good suggestion. She says, invite them in to your home. Poor people in this world. Poor people. Yeah. This world is messed up for sure. It is very messed up and there's no easy answer.
There's actually some kind of wisdom in there, I think, like that sort of sentiment. I'm not too sure if that was the level that it was meant at, but I think a one-on-one approach, it's amazing the power that kind of has when you
for sure
help one person,
Yep. No, 100%. And again, it's a little more complicated than that too. And just inviting someone into your home. I mean, there could be, you don't know the condition of somebody's life, where they're at or what they're capable of, or what you don't know. And like me, I have 3 small girls, right? Like, so there are some kind of safety precautions and things. And if we're not allowed to even have to keep ourselves safe, against any particular threats, and the laws kind of against those trying to keep themselves safe these days, it's an incredible kind of, even if you wanted to try and help, you wouldn't feel you had the ability if something were to happen that you weren't aware of, because you were putting your family at risk to help someone that you didn't understand their background or didn't know what they were capable of doing. And the worst was to happen, then you weren't even able to protect yourself and your family just from doing a really good deed and trying to help someone. And I'm not saying don't not do good deeds. It's good to do that. And we all need to step it up. But our society also, societal issues need to be handled from society as well. So if this starts happening in residential areas, I think people will then put pressure on the city to build housing for them. Okay, good point there. Yeah, so that's Billy's point that people will put pressure. Jennifer says, different story. Take the matter into your own hands. Exactly. That's what I mean. So if everyone does something about it. In Costa Rica, they have squatters. Well, exactly. So that's the same type of idea here. It's just the weather is a little more conducive there. You only need like a little lean-to or whatever, and you're fine because of the elements. We got to watch out for poisonous serpents, though, unfortunately. Jennifer Murray says, freedom of speech, mandate it. Exactly. Seems like a cop-out from the city. And that's Kara. Possibly, yes. Well, it was the actual, the city, I think, has an obligation to make facilities available for people that are experiencing homelessness because they are citizens of the city, correct? However, I've heard stories of other cities busing their residents to other cities, like, example, Toronto, busing their people experiencing homelessness to Sudbury and saying, hey, you'll have a better chance there. They have less homeless and more supports because they have less homeless. And then it just creates a problem for us here. We weren't prepared for the amount of people. So it depends on a lot. Agreed. Yeah, for sure, Jennifer. Yes. That's your comment to me, of your comment of bringing people in. If someone's in a tent in your yard, say, come on in to my place. So Julia says people have mental health issues and drug issues, correct? And they need those supports as well. We got thunder in the sky here. No way. That's crazy. Literally, Miles? You mean thunder, like weather-wise, there's thunder? Or this conversation's like thunder? Vancouver bust them out for the Olympics. Oh, yeah, you're right. It's true. And that's the thing, too, eh? There's all kinds of issues here with human rights, and, you're always being, I don't know.
Mhm.
You could just
And I
grab
think
someone.
that illustrates like one of the big problems with democracy is that I think there's different levels of information, right? So,
Yeah,
and I mean, there probably has to be to some degree, but I think general public has very little information in terms of like the big picture that, the sort of information elite probably have. Information elite. But basically, there is and again, probably some of those things are like either uncomfortable truths. That's they know they'll take a pounding in the media if somebody
yeah,
expresses a certain reality.
yeah,
So they'd rather just not come through them.
exactly. Well, we want to switch gears
They
here,
need
but
more errands.
for sure. Yeah, no, Billy, right on the money there. So Jennifer says, yes, thunder and lightning in Sudbury. Oh my goodness, that is craziness. Crazy. Rain, snow, and then ice pellets, and then thunder and lightning. Crazy stuff. Well, welcome to Sudbury in February. And I wouldn't want to be experiencing homelessness myself. And so I think, like Jennifer was saying, there needs to be more caring, I guess, just caring people, first of all. Think tank, get it kind of organized, get together, think tank kind of ideas. And what are some things we can do? I know Nick was involved with a group of people that took the ball and ran with it, but they were using a facility that the city then came and said, this facility isn't up to standards for something like this, and then kicked all the people out. You know what I mean? So they were at least in a building, and there was an organization at least doing something organically to help out. And then the city came and just threw them out in the street. What's better on the street than it was in this building? You know what I mean? It's like backwards. Because let's
Exactly.
say,
And again, it doesn't really reflect on them. You could
yeah,
make an argument. It could be their insurance. They know they're
yeah,
going to get sued out the wazoo if anything happens. And
exactly. Yep. And Jennifer is saying if everyone did a little bit, so much more can happen. And that is true. And that has to happen. And I think if an individual takes care of their own life first, it's like there was a Bible scripture that says, how can you help someone else? you judge or help someone else if you like? How can you take the beam out of someone else's eye if you have something in your own eye? First take the beam out of your own eye, and then take it out of your friend's eye that you can see they have a problem with. And so there is a lot to be said about fixing, like, Jordan Peterson, let's say the 12 things to do, whatever his book is called there, to kind of clean up your own life kind of thing. And if everyone was doing that and then reaching out into their community and helping, I think that kind of formula works really well. And I don't think we really adopt that as much as a society. Seems like there's more of a push of, it just depends on what color your skin is that you need to give priority to, or what language you speak, or, or what gender you choose to be, or whatever. And then that's the important thing. And it totally gets away from, the fundamentals of the human being and the human experience of taking care of your own stuff and then helping others. What's better? Anyways, I'm going to digress on this conversation and probably get into a lot more hot water than we have to get into.
I think it comes down to, at one end of the spectrum, there's personal responsibility. And I think, again, if you really want to take society down a notch, you eliminate personal responsibility, get people to say it's, focus on somebody else causing the problem, or the government needs to fix it, or these kind of things. I mean, they're not totally exclusive of each other, but
exactly. Yeah. Well, Jennifer, sorry. First of all, Diane's saying good morning, and there was someone else saying good morning here. I just didn't want to forget anyone, but I think I might have, in the plethora of the conversation going on here. And so, but I did share it on the screen, and I do believe, I'm just going to have a hard time saying it, but I know Diane is checking in, saying good morning, bon matin as well. And somebody else did as well. I'm still just wanting to get to everybody here in the comments. And for some reason, it was Judy, but that was at the beginning of the show. So I'm not able to go back and find that. However, we're going to have to move on. So last comment, we'll go to Miles. I was waiting to go home on the bus at the bus station last night, and 2 bylaw officers offered a solution for him to stay in the shelter. He cursed at them and took all of his stuff and left. Oh, so here's the officer was trying to help. Yeah, there's issues here with a lot of people, right? Even if you're trying to help, there's a real core issue. Like if somebody's addicted to drugs, there's a really hard, yes, for sure, Miles, a homeless person for sure, yes. But it's really hard. We don't have the tools to be able to help in that way. And how do we? And so it's really hard. Are you guys seeing and hearing the winter thunderstorm? Yeah, we were just talking about that, Karen. But I'm not, because I'm in Espanola at the moment. Billy's in Greater Sudbury. We're going to switch gears here now, though, just because we're almost out of time. We spent most of the time on one story, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think if you really want to unpack things, sometimes you have to do stuff like that. But let's go here for the story from we've been covering. There's a follow-up to it. So CTV is reporting that there were protests. Sudbury student protest cancellation of anti-bullying event. You remember I was talking about that? There was the drag show event that was the theme of inclusion and anti-bullying that the Rainbow District School Board kiboshed and canceled. So here's a bit of a look at it. 9 people showed up. The story doesn't say that, but 9 people showed up. I counted everyone in the picture, and that's all there were. They got everyone in the picture. There were protests Monday in response to the decision by Rainbow District School Board to cancel an anti-bullying event that contained drag. Oh, it contained drag elements. I love the wording of news. This is so good. So it wasn't a drag event that was themed for anti-bullying and inclusion. It was a anti-bullying event that contained drag elements. Yep.
Might not be wrong.
So if you say this fentanyl pill, you name all of the other ingredients in it. It contains fentanyl. This pill of baking soda, food coloring, and whatever contains fentanyl. Is that what you would say? No, you'd say this is a fentanyl pill. But anyways,
Well, that's
the
language
cover.
for you.
So there were
Semantic.
protesters. Yeah, and they couldn't say there were many protesters because the picture showed there weren't. So they wanted to say that. I'm almost going to go out on a limb and say. So there were protests Monday in response to a decision by the Rainbow District School Board to cancel an anti-bullying event that contained drag elements. A student says the board told him it was too political and hypersexual. Well, how could it be hypersexual if it just contains an ounce of drag? You know what I mean? It's just an ounce of drag. It's mainly anti-bullying. Billboards and charts of classroom, not a closet, echo the hurt and anger amongst a groups of students at Sudbury's Llewellyn Secondary School. Raja Mohammed said the school board decided to cancel the Courage Across Canada Tour anti-bullying campaign, despite the fact that organizers followed proper procedures. The presentation included elements of drag, which Mohammed said he believed led to the event's cancellation. Well, yeah, the school board said it was hypersexual. Too political and hypersexual. He does believe that's what led to the cancellation. Well, he was told that. To call it hypersexual is one thing. Calling it political is another thing, Mohammed said. And then not to respond to our concerns and our voices in the petition that has over 2,700 signatures. It's crazy. And it's completely disingenuous. Now, the event will go ahead at Collège Boreal instead. Mohammed said it's the sound of silence from the school board that sends a message to its own LGBTQ plus students that their queer kids are not going to be listened to. They're not going to be valued at Rainbow District school boards, he said. That's clear from the how they've been treating this. That's how they've been treating us. Yeah. So it sounds like they're kind of bullying the school board a bit. Does that sound like that to you at all, Billy?
Okay.
Sorry, that's what it sounds like to me. They're like.
That's why you need your own paper with headlines.
Well, I'm giving the other side. That's because this is so one-sided. They're so one-sided of an article. I'm coming with I'll usually do that in a debate. I'll come with the opposite end. That's what this is forcing me, my brain to do. Go ahead, though.
Well, again, I don't think all of these elements are sort of being reasonably quantified,
Yeah.
I mean, we don't really know how sexual this is.
Well, we do because
hypersexualized?
well, we do. Well, we could look at it and have our own perception of whether it is or not.
Yeah.
Because they've already done it. It's not like we haven't seen the performance. They've been doing it across Canada, right? So it's just your take on it. Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
What is
I haven't seen it.
hypersexualized? Let's just define that right now. So what does hypersexualized even mean?
That's a good. I think we probably don't need to. Okay, I don't know if you want to define it. Take a shot.
No, but the point is, where's the boundaries these days? Like, where's the line? Like, let's define it.
And I think when it comes to schools, I think that's where like the main issue with the public is like the sexualization. It's like, can a bunch of frat boys bring in some striptease pole dancer kind of thing? Well, probably not.
But they're good dancers with elements of striptease. It's showing dance moves. There's some elements of stripping in it, but it's mainly dance, and showing
all
us
the other stuff like the anti-bullying. Now that's very valuable stuff. So, it's the fact that it's woven together is why it gets to be tricky.
Exactly. And why does sex and anti-bullying have to be merged together? Why can't you talk about anti-bullying and mention the fact that if you wish to do drag in a place that's appropriate to do drag, then people shouldn't judge that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I would say, where's the line here? Let's define hypersexual. Let's define sexual first of all. And does anything go? That's what I'm hearing here. Anything goes. And if you don't go along with it, you are a bully. if you don't believe everything I believe and want to support everything I stand for, and I can do anything I want, then
Mhm.
you're the bad guy and you're not supporting me. Correct or no?
Yeah, well, that's where
Yeah.
that's kind of minutia has to be kind of negotiated. You
Mm-hmm.
can't. It's right now. It's just kind of like like a team sports war. It's like I'm just gonna like this is my team. I'm just gonna pull for everything. And accuse the other side of whatever. But I think in the end, that kind of dialogue, sort of separating, getting both sides to express again, like sort of saying that obviously, this shows that the school doesn't care about. It's like no, that's not what they're saying.
Yeah.
They're it's it's bringing sex into the school is a controversial issue.
Yeah. I guess just teaching us our anatomy and how things work, the birds and the bees, nothing wrong with that. But now the birds and the bees are the birds and the birds and the bees and the bees and the butterflies and the bees and and it's just now we don't even know what the heck. That's why I said, let's define this, for crying out loud. The the Supreme Court nominee coming in, who's now in the Supreme Court of the United States, was asked to define what a woman was and said she couldn't. Here you have a Supreme Court judge in the United States of America, the most powerful country in the world, who couldn't define what a woman was. My 3-year-old at the time
Yeah,
could define
well,
what
it
a
just
woman
shows
was.
how powerful that there's a
Yeah.
like you say, kind of like a sense of bullying. That person could have their job taken away like that. It's
Oh, they would have. Yeah. If they would have defined what a woman was, the people that wanted her to be in there to not define it and to shake things up and to burn everything down. So that way a new kind of whatever undefined society can rise up because
yeah,
everybody is an activist nowadays and the system is all wrong and you need to burn it all down. And
yeah.
what we get in replace of that, nobody knows. But let's take a chance. It can't be any worse than than the society we've had for the last 100 years. Can't be any worse
And
than
this is
that.
kind
You
of a
know.
result. I mean, the pendulum was really on the other side, like not too long ago. Like it was, it was, and I'm sure it is quite to some degree, but it was a harsh world for, that community, especially 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
It was like growing up in a small town. It would have been physically dangerous to. Actually, I guess that's kind of not true. It was different. There was I remember people who somehow kind of navigated it without any problems, and
Yeah.
then some people were tortured because of it.
It's true. No, pendulums are bad, and I like the pendulum when it's in the middle. Like I really do. It's a balance is a really cool thing. The yin and yang symbol, it's really cool. This idea that balance of nature. There's balance. It's the way it's got to be. I mean, and there needs to be conversations, and there needs to be people allowed to talk. And I appreciate that. It's like anything goes nowadays. I like that. It's okay. So let's have anything goes. Let's everyone be able to say what that's on their mind and not suppress one side and allow only another side to say what they want. Let's everyone talk, including these
Mhm.
students from here, and they're talking and they're getting a lot of media out of this. This is the fourth story that's come out, basically pounding a drum. The same message is coming across. School board bad, kids good. School board is suppressing what kids should have a right to do. It's their rights, and you know what I mean. Jamie West, even he thinks it's important to recognize this was age appropriate. This was educational. This wasn't going to be a drag show. This was about people feeling represented. I was saying it with his
I haven't seen
conviction.
the show, so I can't
Yeah.
really say for sure. But
Let's see the show. Why don't we put the show on tomorrow and we'll see it and we'll have people just chime in and say, yeah, do you think this is age appropriate? The Rainbow School Board declined a request for an interview to comment on the protest, deferred to a statement it sent last week. Well, it sent a statement. So they said what they said. They're not going to say anything different, correct? They have their stance on it. Why would it change? You know what I mean? So students, CTV News spoke with, said they would like the school board to offer an apology to acknowledge the hurt they said they've caused. That's right. That's the world we live in. And so let's do cooking, canning, sewing, and managing money classes. That's a great idea, Jennifer.
All good stuff.
I wish
there,
I would have thought of that. Kids don't even know how to cook these days, but they want to dress up like the opposite sex and dance around and feel included. If you got an empty stomach and you don't know how to cook for yourself, I don't care what clothes you put on or who you date or who you choose to be with or who you choose to identify as. If you can't eat, you don't live. You got to learn these things. It's like we've lost touch with reality. Okay, right? Yeah. Okay, I just lost that. Okay, right? School has become something else. It's an indoctrination center of ideologies, teaching our kids to fight against society and burn it down because the future is bright. We got to wear shades because all that fire, global warming, our world's going to light on fire. So we got to get out and burn it down ourselves first. Why does drag have to be sexual? It's not. Exactly. You can just dress up like a woman or a man if you're either one and talk. But yeah. All drag shows have elements of sexual innuendo. That's Miles. Not if you're doing an anti-bullying segment. Well, how about we say drag show with elements of anti-bullying, not anti-bullying show with elements of drag? Do you see the wordsmithing there that I saw in that article? You need to step down then, FTS. Okay, so Miles says, so in today's society, even if you use politically correct language, if your opinion is against something, you are a hater. Yes, that is correct. Okay. So Julie is saying, so a woman, I'm offended that anyone can be a woman. Oh, look at this. But are you really a woman, Julia? We haven't defined what a woman is. Do you even know what that even means? You identify of what you believe to be is as a woman, possibly. We don't even know these days. But you're offended that anybody can be a woman. They've convoluted the roles of man and woman, and it's significant, derisive to our communities. That's correct. It's a disservice to our communities. And Sudbury, secondary programs are like that. You need real life skills. Yeah, correct. It's a school of the arts, which is great, but real life skills are very, very important. Indoctrination, exactly. So with that, I guess we have to end today, Billy. We only covered 2 main stories. There's lots going on, but we only covered the 2.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was some good coverage.
Anyways, the views on Sudbury News are that only of those that are on this show and do not necessarily reflect that of Laurentian University or those of that of CKLU. Anyone who works there, who volunteers there, anyone who works at CKLU or Laurentian University or volunteers there, anyone who's involved, the views of this show are entirely that of ourselves and not of anyone else. And we take responsibility for those. We just want to say that. And any comments made are that of the people commenting. And I don't take responsibility for those people's comments because everyone has their own opinion. So thank you very much, Jennifer, and all of y'all who commented today. Thank you, Billy, for being on the show today, as usual.
Thank you, Aaron.
Have a great day, Billy, and have a great day, everyone else. Stay tuned now for on CKLU for Earshot Daily. We'll be back same time, same place, hopefully tomorrow. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.